Hi, it's Sarah with House Copper, and today we are going to go back to basics just because I've had some questions in other different places about different seams, and I'm gonna for sure do the first three kinds of coppersmithing slash tinsmithing seams. I don't know if I'll get totally to doing a full cramp seam in a video, but I can go through some of the methods and lead up to it. I just don't have the acetylene here, so I would just have to figure out a way to do this at Bob's, which always just, adds an extra layer of packing up and getting everything over there. So for sure we're gonna do that. So the very first seam we're gonna do in today's video is the most simple and the weakest seam, which is called the butt seam, B-U-T-T, because you are abutting the two edges together. The reason it is the weakest is because there's actually no overlap of metal in any part of it. You're literally taking the edges of two pieces and you're soldering them together right where they meet. So without further ado, we are going to do the very simple but least effective seam, the butt seam. Okay, here's a piece of copper, here's a piece of copper, here's a piece of solder, just a simple piece. You will flux it up as always. The information for the flux I use and the solder where I find it is in the description below. Please don't ask me for it, please read. I will flux both sides of this. And what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to connect them like this. And you see there's going to be like, this is a little skewed there. There's gonna be like no overlap of metal. They're just going to abut each other right there with solder. So we're gonna do that with this solder and a blowtorch, and away we go. That's it. So here is the butt seam. And as you can see from the outside, it's a really clean seam. The solder is very, right here, like very little visible. The inside is a little bit more messy. I mean, I didn't run the solder the whole way, just because I didn't, and it didn't run. But also, the reason it's a weak seam is because the only thing holding these two pieces together is literally that solder. There's no extra strength from an overlap or a crimping or creasing of the material. So that's why it's the weakest seam. It's a clean looking seam, at least from one side, but it is the weakest seam because you are relying on that very soft tin to be the glue with no support. So that's your butt seam. Very easy. There are times when it does make sense to use it. Very little in the cookware world where, occasionally I'll use it for more detail work. But I think you see a little bit more in roofing at certain practices, but really and truly, or like hoods, things like that. But for cookware building, there's really no time that I use a butt seam. It is always at least a lap seam. So anyway, any thoughts, questions, comments? As always, put them down below, and I will be continuing on with other seam videos. And if you have any questions as well, you can find me via my website and stuff, or House Copper, Instagram, Facebook. If I'm slow getting back to you, it's just because there's so many places people can send messages. Like, I don't check them daily. I don't even sometimes check them weekly because there's just too much going on between life and actually physically doing this work. But I will get back to you when I can. Besides all the social media places, don't forget to subscribe and follow or pick up a copy of Copper, Iron, and Clay wherever books are sold. And until next time, I hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you for watching.